this segment, we will be giving you a step-by-step instructions on how to remove and install a door trim panel. This application will allow you to gain access and replace the door handles, mirrors, speakers, and service the mechanical working parts of your door. The most important part of any service or work you do to your vehicle is to use the proper tools and work easily and not force anything. Watch the video carefully and follow the step-by-step instructions. Review the video as many times as you need to be sure and confident in your ability. With that, let's get started with today's application. From us here at Auto Body Tips, thank you and enjoy the video.
For today's application for tools on this F-150 door trim removal, we'll need a pick tool, a pair of needle nose pliers, or pliers if you have, 5.5mm socket, 6mm socket, 8mm socket, 10mm socket, and an 11mm socket, 1/4 inch ratchet, extension, and a fiber stick. First we'll start with our removal of our two 6mm screws. Then next we'll remove our little plate here using a pick tool. In the center of this is a little opening. You want to reach in there and just depress down, push down on that little tab right here like this, and that'll release it. Otherwise, if you pry it on the sides, you'll break these and it's hard to get that piece. Now we'll remove our 8mm screws. Setting those off to the side. Next here on our door panel, we'll take our fiber stick. We have to remove our speaker cover. Just get your fiber stick underneath it. And gently work it off. Set that off to the side. Now we have to remove our speaker, and this is a 5.5mm socket. Taking our pick tool, just pulling the speaker out, nice and gentle. Then the speaker has a tab here on the electrical socket. Just push that in, and that releases the speaker. Let's set that over to the side. Next, to remove our door panel, now that we have our speaker out, we have to pull off this gasket here. That just sits down over top for insulation and stop the rattling. And we have to pull out these two lower grommets. That's important, we have to take those out because otherwise you can't lift your door panel off. I like to use just a pair of needle nose pliers and hang on to them. And I'm just going to sneak my hand in there and I'm going to squeeze the back of it with my fingers. And just gently work that out. Just take your time. They'll come out of there nice and easy. Just okay, next we'll have to get rid of our board here. Getting your fiber stick underneath the edge and just prying nice and easy, lifting it off. This gives us access to our pigtails. So now we want to depress, pull out. Just take your time, look to see where you got to push in, and lift them out. Let's set that off to the side. Next, we have to remove our 10mm bolt. Just getting your other hand in there and holding it with your finger and lifting it out. Next, we just grab a hold of our door handle up here and lower. You can even get your knee underneath it and just push up gently. And that just slides right off, but there's one other thing we have to do. We want to remove our door handle, but we have to take it out, so we have to depress it in right here on this edge. You can see the lip. Push that in, and it just slides out. Now we want to slide that through, turn it sideways, and bring it back out. Now we can set our door panel off to the side. With our trim panel removed, just for now, we just want to get our handle out of the way so it doesn't get broken. So what we want to do is just put one bolt back in, just a little bit, just to hold it out of the way. Here on our F-150, we want to remove our driver's side mirror. But first of all, we have to remove 4 11mm nuts. And we're going to start here by taking off our dust cover and unplugging our electrical here. We don't have to undo the electrical or the dust cover off of down here because the plug-in here now on the new Ford is directly into the mirror. So let's start by pulling this off. Just setting that off to the side. Now our electrical here is the same as all of our other plug-ins. There's a little tab we have to press in, and it just pulls out. Let's set that off to the side. Let's get these nuts off. Alright, let's start by removing these. Love it. This one here you have to be a little bit careful on. Just take your time. Pull it out slowly. You don't want that dropping down into your door. Now on our last nut here, we want to have a friend support the mirror so it doesn't fall. These trucks actually have a retainer clip in this upper one that holds it in, but sometimes it's always safer to have somebody hold that mirror. Let's take that mirror off. Okay, let's go ahead and remove that mirror. You can see here on this mirror, the top stud, you can see how it's flanged out like that, and that's what was holding on. So if you just take your time and just work that out, because these do push in, and that slides out. Now with all of our trims off and our mirrors off, this actually gives us access now, if you were to put your window back down by hooking up your board, to pull off your window belt moldings. Sometimes a lot of mud gets caught in there, and it'll scratch up your window, and that'll give us access to take those off and take the garden hose and clean those up and then reinstall them. And also too, with our door trim off, this allows us access to our window for window maintenance if you want to grease your runs and your mechanical of the window, and your door latch, everything in there. And it also will give you access by lifting the dust cover off if you have to push out small dents. Alright, let's put our door back together. We'll start by installing the mirror. Everything is just exactly the opposite of what we did. Alright, let's reinstall our 11mm. You don't have to over tighten, just nice and snug. Then this one here, just take your time, get it on there, put it in. Next we want to plug in our electrical. Our electrical only goes one way. Slides in, you'll hear it click. Then next we want to install our dust cover back in, making sure our all fits properly where it's supposed to be. Next we want to take our door handle back down. Now reinstalling our door handle, sliding back through the hole, bringing it around, door panel now slides into place. You can see how the door panel has hooks on it, and they all hook into the slots into the door. So let's get that done. Remind you to pull your wiring back up through your hole. Just lining things up, taking your time. Next we want to install our 10 millimeter. Next installing our 8 millimeter bolts back in too. Next we want to put our grommets back in to the lower part of our speaker. That just pushes in. And then we want to put our gasket back in. Next we want to put our speaker back in. Take our pigtail to our electrical and just clip it back into place. Only goes one way only. Just slide that speaker back into its place. And then we have to put our 5.5 millimeter screws back in. Just starting them out by hand a little bit. And then tightening in. Not too tight. Now we want to install our 6 millimeter back in the bottom. Let's go back up and put our window board back in and our speaker cover. These plugs only go in one spot and one spot only, so you just have to find out where they go and just plug them in. And then just sliding our board back in, our panel, clipping back in. Now we want to put on our window, our speaker cover. This only goes on one way. It's got guide pins and it just clips in. So we want to start, we could line up our guide pins and just push it into place. And then one last cover to go. Again, that only goes one way. Make sure it's lined up so we don't break our little tabs off. Slip the bottom in first, then just gently push it into place. And there we have it. For one last final check, we should check to make sure that our locks all work and our windows work. Just to make sure we have everything hooked in there properly. Just go through them all. And our mirror. Let's check out our mirror. Everything works fine.